Welcome back to Paint Raider, the channel that is devoted to providing constructive feedback on your miniature paints, miniatures that have been painted, sorry, I should say, especially where the internet has been not that great about providing constructive feedback. So what do we have here? We have an entry from Facebook, and the comment here said that he just finished this White Scars Terminator, first time doing white armor, and I think it came out pretty well. And he's happy to hear any constructive feedback. So let's take a look at the model. This is the only picture that we have, so there aren't any other photos to go off of. But first impression is, it looks nice, you know, for a tabletop level. You're good to go. You're rocking, right? So maybe let's see if we can, so obviously the thing to talk about is the white armor, right? White scars, white armor, and you know what? If you were to really try to like push yourself on doing white armor, there's levels to this, right? This is what I would say is totally acceptable tabletop standard. You know, you'll be able to tell from a mile away that that is white scars or that it's a white armor. No questions asked, right? And then there's really like moving it along the spectrum here in terms of really selling the white armor. And the big thing with white armor is that it's really not very white. You know, because what white paint is the highest level in value. It's the top, and so you can't sort of describe a shape of something, a volume, with it all being in pure white paint, right? So even if you look here in this photograph, if you look just here in the sort of chin area, or the cheek area, this is a sort of a natural shadow that's coming just from the way the photography is working, right? But I think that this is probably, you know, going to be all white paint. Maybe this is a very light gray, right? But let's just say that it's, for all intents and purposes, is a pretty high value paint, right? And even. You can see here that it's quite dark here. If you were to do like a, you know, like to use the computer to figure out what color that is, that's quite a dark gray. And you can see that it lines up here, right? And so the same principle should just be used in painting it with grays, right? So if you were to say, okay, well, how would I take this? So that's what I would say. Okay, now let me take it back to the original, to the point I want to make. White armor is not truly painted white if you want to control the way shadow and highlights look, right? And so what you need to have is a gradation that ends with white at the very top, very top, like very sparingly, and then it's really a lot of shades of gray, and the shades of gray can be pretty dark. Like that's like not a light gray here. Like it's a pretty dark gray. If you look down here, that is not a light gray. Look here, that is a pretty dark gray, and it lightens up around here, right? So you can even look at this. This is pretty useful here to look at, right? At the very top, that's your lightest value here. It makes sense. And then it gets darker here. And then there's a bit of a bounce highlight here that gives a little bit of light. But even if you didn't do this bounce part, this would make a lot more sense from a painting perspective, like the volumes, right? So even here, you can see this is all cast in shadow here. For this is pretty lit, right? The upward facing parts of the armor here, right? This is dark here. Even though he's painted it all with white, if I were to repaint this in a more at a higher level, spend more time on it, I would spend a lot of time trying to map out the shadows with darker grays, right? And then build up to white, but have the white be like just this edge here, the top of the head here, you know, right there, the top of this, the top of this, the top of this, you know, right here, maybe here, but not a lot else, right? Like this wouldn't be as very highlighted to me, right? So the white armor is just something that, like, I think you have to talk about when you talk about this model. The other aspects of the model, I mean, the red is the other part that we should probably talk about. I don't think it's really... You're losing a lot, let's just say, you can see the brushwork here, but it's really hard to tell, right? Like, it looks difficult to see, and so probably it just needs darkening, if anything, right? Darkening in between, and in between here, you could use even a purple to really... If you use a purple wash, that will really help to set a really darker shadow inside this red. And then even at the top, like a orange or really bright red just along the top of the skull, along the top of this part here, right? Just to help define the detail there. Because it's relative, it's red on red, right? So it becomes a little bit hard to read, right? The little details here, like this light. There should probably be, I think there might have been a little bit of underpainting there that's leaving a little bit of this white showing, right? And I would advocate for more the breaking up of the model, right? Just from a composition perspective, right? Like, say, these tubes here, do they have to be white with the rest of the armor? Could they be steel? Could this belt buckle be steel or some other color, gold or something? Because there are yellow, like gold elements here. This is yellow here. So if you had like a gold button here, or even the skull be gold, that'd be okay. But yeah, I'm not too... I don't know how true to white scars that is. It's just more from a composition perspective what I would probably want to see. And then really everything else is fine. It's not a big priority to me. I mean, yes, I would probably blackline or darken the panels in between, things like this, or here, or into here, right? That would be, I think, great to do. But I think the biggest thing to tackle from a improvement perspective is on the white armor. The white armor is going to be the hardest thing to wrangle. Is not easy, right? So it's going to be like the thing that could probably be improved the most, and is also the most difficult. The things that could be improved the easiest are probably like black lining between panels, and maybe throwing in some different colors there to get the contrast up and highlighting up here. Yeah, and basing wise, I don't like, personally speaking, the light tan against the white armor. I think it sort of a little washes everything out. So if it were me, I would go with a dark brown, right? Dark brown everything here, like this ground cover, maybe throw in a little bit of green shrubs just to add a little bit more life to the scene. Not a lot, but just a little bit. Maybe a little bit of dust on the feet just to set the model into the world. You don't have to though. But yeah, that's it. Those are my main thoughts here. Yeah, maybe this part could be metal too, like this part, and these little rivet details could be done. Anyways, that's the main part I wanted to talk about. Let me know what you think. At a tabletop standard, I think this is a really sort of clean but basic paint job. Not bad at all, but it's nothing that would be like, okay, yeah, this is like perfect or anything. There are some like cleanup details and stuff too. So I'd probably give this a 2 out of 5. It's a good attempt. It looks fine. On the tabletop, could be better, absolutely. But the big thing is really this armor is going to be tough to do. White Scar is a tough scheme to get right, but you know what? Keep at it, right? As it's a long journey, but painting is very rewarding if you stick at it and try to improve. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours. Have a good one.